out.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I love you. You're so lucky.
Okay.
Dragon baby.
Welcome to this week's program. Before we get started, I want to give a big That's Life shout out to three fantastic listeners. Nebraska,
Which is what? Nebraska?
Nebraska. Nebraska gave us a lovely 5-star review and some kind words. We also have Tide TZ. I would imagine it's Tide. I guess it could be Tidets.
They said that we were like a model marriage. That's the way all marriages should be run.
Sure.
And then the third?
The third one is very easy to pronounce. It's Lou Steele. So again, thanks to you guys for jumping on iTunes. I know it's not easy, but the 5-star reviews and the nice words on iTunes makes a big difference for the show and exposes it to people that aren't our family.
And hopefully we get on that new and notables list someday.
Exactly. If you get on new and notables, schlubs like myself that enjoy listening to good podcasts come across it and go, hey, let me give those guys a shot. And so it's the easiest way to go about doing that, to helping us out. Other great ways to help us out are liking us on Facebook. You can follow either one of us on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is, if you're watching the program right now, that means you're looking at YouTube. So that means you can go onto YouTube and subscribe. Please subscribe. We actually have a loyal following on YouTube. Also, I have to do this. I have to say hello to our audience in Germany.
Hey.
We have a
Hallo. Guten Abend.
There you go. That's the German portion of the program. We have a small but loyal following in Germany. So there you go. Germany wants the Germans going on at all times. So, but we appreciate you listening. And with that, I say, on with the show.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're right.
It's cocktail time here in Los Angeles, California. Honey, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking, I'm sure it has a real name, but I've got a little organic lemon juice and a little gin and maybe a lot of gin. I've got some gin and a little sweet and sour mix.
Little gin. It's gin, sweet and sour. No,
and
there's
lemon.
no name for that. You've just made stuff
A
up.
gin sour, a lemon gin sour. That's what I'm drinking.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear him having a Bacardi cocktail with I don't think it's even Bacardi. Some other kind of rum.
But rum
no,
and
it might be Bacardi. Bacardi cocktail. This is rum, lime juice, and grenadine. Very easy.
Very easy.
Very easy.
All you need is an
It's not that
umbrella.
sweet.
Really?
Yeah, it's not as sweet as I like. I like them super fruity.
And an umbrella.
Just like I like my women. Super fruity.
Hey. Oh, well.
What are you going to do? So, Jennifer.
Yeah.
How's the week been going for you?
The week has been busy. And I think, we were talking about it because I've been kind of rushing. And it's been just, next time I want to volunteer, slap me. Because I'm volunteering too much. There's too much volunteering going on. But it's good. It feels good. So there is that.
Yeah, no, I know. It feels good, but it's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
You shouldn't have done it.
Right. And now I'm in it for the long haul. Like you can't walk away.
No, you've already told people you're doing it.
Yep.
It's the righteous indignation.
It's volunteer shaming now.
Yeah.
But I was a member of one board that
Congratulations.
vice chair.
I'm not doing this anymore. And
We're
everyone's just
disbanded.
like,
I'm
you're right.
out.
That's a good idea. We should never do this again.
No, bigger and better things will come for the
Not
sake.
true that buy-ins are a farce.
Well, let's be clear. We're not talking about like the political, governmental, you get elected and appointed to the city school board. We're talking the little,
Like a school board Illuminati.
well, it's the school board that's a little group that's organizing to keep the school going in lieu of a PTA, which a lot of people don't want to do PTA because there are funds and stuff. But there are great things about PTA or PTO or whatever it is. Some schools don't like to do that or don't have the funds to do it and all this
But
kind of
they
good
don't.
stuff.
Then
So-
what's the huge difference? What's the big difference between your PTA and a unanimous board? Yeah,
Well, oh, hey,
brilliant.
little, a little defensive about that. No, I think the main difference is you're not using your whatever budget and funds you have to pay union dues. But the flip side is, as we learned, is there is there's a lack of like overall communication that can happen
On
when
a school
you-
board or on a PTA?
I think when you don't have a PTA and you've got, because we have this great fundraising entity, but they're not really the parent advocacy group. And then we had this board that was kind of overseeing curriculum and things because our school, while it's a public school, is only 2 to 3 years old and it's a pilot. And we're in partnership with the parent community, the school district for Los Angeles, LA Unified, and Loyola Marymount University, which is an interesting thing. But I think a lot of schools are doing that. They're partnering with a university or something like that. But long story short, you need some entity that kind of speaks to all the stakeholders, keeps everyone accountable, looks to those ideas, communicates all those great things, and then can communicate to the entire parent base, which we haven't really had. We've kind of had snippets of that, but now as we're growing, there are more things to look to do and take care of. And this board had become kind of obsolete. And so now we will disband and suggest that there is a different kind of overseeing parent community that can go out and do enrichment programs or talk about the safety community or parent engagement or whatever that is, and not have to wait. Because the other problem too was if there was a major announcement, we would look to the principal and say, why can't you tell all the parents? And she's like, I can't say anything until I'm given the official stamp that LA Unified can say that. And of course that goes through, different generations of who can approve it, who can say what's the language, all the legal, blah, blah, blah. And then, 48 hours or a week has passed or whatever, and parents still don't know things that they might need to know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's tough.
This I'll tell you. If you have the opportunity to educate your child in any other city in the United States over Los Angeles, I highly recommend it.
There's a lot. We could go down this path of education. We shouldn't do that tonight, but there's a lot of
That'll
good
be a
things.
very special episode.
But
when
there are
I'm
a lot.
suicidal.
There are a lot of good things about some education opportunities in Los Angeles, and you and I have a very big passion for public schools. One, because I say it all the time, and I'll say it here. As Americans, the amount of taxes we pay, whether you're in Nebraska, North Carolina, Idaho, LA, or New York City, we are paying so much in taxes. We ought to have great public school education that is consistent across all areas of whatever region you live in. We don't have that.
No, not even close.
And what's amazing to me is we used to have that because how did we get, Henry Ford to think up how to create, invent the car?
He was not in the LAUSD school system.
Clearly, but we've had some great people come out of all these different school districts. So it's not like the American school system tanked. In the 50s, we were creating the kids or in the late 40s and early 50s, we were creating people's minds and developing them that went on to land on the moon and do incredible things. So I cannot believe that American public school education has always been going down the path of disaster and despair, but somewhere along the way, we've we've lost our way. We need to find our way back. It's very disruptive right now. I think parents are so engaged right now in whatever region you're in. That's really important. But I think there's a big gap to bridge between what administrators think parents want and what parents know their children need.
Yeah.
And I feel like administration's maybe 10 years behind.
And it's not, in my estimation, based on my kind of rudimentary research, it's not a national issue. What's going on, I think, affects larger cities in particular. Also, not only just larger cities, but larger cities where there's a larger disparity between people of wealth and people of lower class and lower means. And that is a national issue, that there is less of a middle class, and we're getting the high and low. But Los Angeles in particular, boy,
I yes, I agree with you, but I do think that it is. I disagree with you when you say it's not a national issue. It is absolutely a national.
You're not supposed to disagree with me on anything.
I'm disagreeing with you. I think we disagreed like our second conversation, right? Maybe first.
Ever? I'm sure we disagree about the first.
Anyway, no, I think there are issues nationwide. But let's move on. It's an exciting topic, but it's not going to be what you really wanted to talk about on a Saturday night, other than the fact that we are constantly now we're looking for maybe having to look at new schools at some point. And you went to a great school yesterday, and you're
amazing schools.
Oh, gaga about it.
I'm ready to go. That's the thing. When I go and visit these different schools, there are some where it's like, okay, interesting. I want to know a lot about the philosophy, especially and what I'm speaking out in particular are private schools. When I feel like I'm going to shell out money, then the ball is in my court. And I know a lot of people feel the other way around, that, the schools have all the power. Some ways that's true, but I don't have to apply. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Ball's in my court as far as that is concerned. So I'm going to be extremely judgmental in a way that I don't have the ability to be in a public school system.
Anywhere else.
No, public school system, you're just kind of like,
you're just judgy.
This is what it is.
Yeah, you can be super judgy and well, let's be clear here that in public schools, people are still judgy, but privately. But you can be judgy.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people to keep their damn thoughts to them damn selves. That's all I want. I don't care if you have an issue. I'm just not interested in hearing about it. So, yeah. And so I went last year. I visited 4 or 5 different schools. Yeah. There was one where I went,
your rock star
slam
school.
dunk.
Yeah.
This is not and lots of times I would say by and large, a lot of the schools were good, but
just not the fit for us or for
and that's it. It's an individual,
whatever.
Absolutely, it's an individual choice based on what you want for your family, what you want for your son, and where you think your son and or daughter will
thrive
sure. the most. So last year we only found one. Now this year we're a little. I got into the school search.
Oh man!
Well, you came home from a school meeting here
about the magnet schools, which is not even the private schools.
So.
Folks that live outside to it, but magnets.
No, well, I can tell you this: if you live in a city that doesn't have to deal with magnets or charters, God bless you.
You're in the heavens. You're in the promised land.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Stay where you are. Aspire to nothing more than what you're doing. You will be in great shape. But you came home, and
I came home and said, we're already late. We've got to be doing these points, and it's second grade. And Bob's like, what are you talking about? And then I start telling him everything. And then he goes, holy crap.
Exactly. I'm fat, dumb, and happy going, my school system, my school experience, my grade school experience was very similar to yours. You went to the local elementary school that fed into the middle school, that fed into the high school, and you graduated, and you didn't think twice about it. There was a private Catholic high school,
right.
But I wasn't Catholic, so it wasn't an issue. I never thought I had less than. It was. Was
And
it
in
perfect?
the South, we didn't have private Catholic high schools, but we might have
Right.
one or two, like finishing school or boys and
Ooh,
girls
finishing.
finishing
I like
school.
that.
Doesn't that sound fancy?
I imagine the dirty things happen in a finishing school.
No, but it's like private
Well,
school.
don't ruin that for me.
It's boarding school.
Okay.
You know, finishing. What are you finishing?
I'll tell you what you're finishing.
Hey, that's not nice.
So,
Ugh,
so
the
yeah, no, you
worst.
came home and you gave me this spiel on a point system and magnet schools, and I'm like,
and how we had to get on it
and
now.
we have to be on this point system now, because if we don't get on it, and at the time Jackson was in the 2nd grade.
Yeah, and he can't even access these points until 6th grade. But,
But
we
if
need
you
to be building them up because we need a minimum of 12, and you get so many a year, and then you get so many for all your other
Yeah.
like special box checks. But Jackson's a white boy.
And mind
He's going to
you,
get nothing
now see
for
we're,
being special.
we're in deep
Maybe
enough that,
redhead.
that we have to explain this. So the way to explain it almost reveals how ludicrous the whole system is. So the points, why do you want points? Well, you want points if at any time you want to have the option to apply for a magnet school. What's a magnet school? It's a public school that operates as an individual entity.
Yeah, but it operates with a special discipline. And to get further into it, to get further into it, in the 70s, when they integrated schools across the country, fully integrated, like early 70s, Los Angeles created this and they speckled them around the city because they wanted it to be advantageous for kids to get to go to, regardless of their skin color, and as it should be. And so as a result, they had to have some criteria that you would get in, and to make it completely fair, it was a lottery system, which is how the point system comes into being. That's the crux of it.
Right.
Period.
And so, so yeah,
it's 2015. We're still doing
but these
this.
specialties are ridiculous. I mean, the individual specialties of the schools are right, and there are, I say upwards of probably 50 magnet schools in Los Angeles.
Easy.
Los Angeles is huge. I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, there's the science magnet
Aerospace.
School. There's aerospace. All right, that's even more science.
What is there? Government and debate
There's
or something?
government and debate. There's arts. All makes sense. Then there's police studies.
Oh yeah, forensics and
so,
stuff. But an
this is
entire school
for a middle school or elementary
middle
school
to high school, like 6 to 12.
Hey, Billy,
grade.
what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a police officer. Well, we've got the elementary school for you.
By the way, when I was like in 6th grade, I went through a thing where 6th to 8th grade, I wanted to be in politics. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be, I don't know. I mean, I went through so many different things. How could you make that change? Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. And what's to say that you're not going to get a year into your police studies and go,
I don't want to do this.
I really would prefer not to get shot at.
In LA.
I would like a job where that doesn't happen as frequently as it might happen in others.
Anyway.
And here's the thing. So the points give you the ability to be in a lottery. So the points don't even guarantee anything. All they guarantee is that you will have the chance to possibly win something, versus not having the points and then being shut out completely.
That's right.
So
I kind of wish I'm shut out.
And
it's less to worry about.
And so the philosophy here is, so you don't want, if you're in a good elementary school,
which we are,
You don't want to have to ante up to your points too soon.
You don't. Well, you can't. Right. You. In order to acquire points, you need to apply and not be accepted.
Right.
To the magnet school.
Right.
Then you acquire points, and
they
hang
carry
on to
over
those points, and they carry over. And the more points you have, the greater chance you have of getting
in sixth grade
into
the big grade.
Right. And that's just it. You don't want to have to, because in Los Angeles, if you go to a public middle school, you might as well, be a pauper in Bangladesh. It's just not,
It's terrible.
But
and no offense to those in Bangladesh.
Or to paupers worldwide.
Period. Yeah.
But so then the philosophy is, okay, what is the hardest school
that we know we won't get
we
into.
know we won't get into?
However,
Yeah.
if you do get into it because all of a sudden they have a slot open for a white
gotta
boy
go.
with red hair, you
got
got to be willing to leave the school you love to go now.
You gotta go.
Otherwise, they wipe your points out.
Yeah.
Once your number's called, it's like heaven. Once your number's called, you either opt to go into heaven or you go somewhere else. You do not get to go back to earth.
No. Well, it's like being enlisted into the service. It's either you decide to go to that school or you go to Canada.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's one of two choices. So you apply. So you find the one school, and we found it. You find the one school that is the most difficult to get into, that has the best of everything. And has the most amount of applicants, so that you lessen your opportunity of actually getting in and acquire the points.
Which, by the way, this whole rigmarole was what we were advised to do at the meeting I went to. Like, they spelled it out for parents.
Yeah, this is
to do just this. Here's how you work the system, and we encourage you to do it.
Yeah,
crazy.
And you know, and you read up on the individual.
But the weather's
schools.
great out here.
Yeah, no, the weather is phenomenal.
So just for all of you going, why are we spending so much time talking about all this stuff for LA? It still has affected us as raising a child here. I think that's the single most, like,
it's absolutely
ground shaking thing, no pun intended,
no.
in Los Angeles. When you move to Los Angeles with a kid in school, this is the thing that keeps you up at night.
It's a total
It
extra...
dictates where you live.
Yeah.
It dictates whether you buy or rent. Everything is on the kids' education in a way that is like no other city in the world. I know of.
Exactly. I think it's the same thing. I don't think it's this difficult in New York City.
No, well, they don't have all of this crazy nuttiness.
All the crazy nuttiness. So anyway, at the same time, you're looking at that. You're looking at the magnets and the charters, and then I'm going it, and I'm also going, you know what? If it's going to be as crazy as all this, I want to see what a good private school is, because that seems to be and the kids start leaving the elementary school as it gets closer to the end of the thing, because they're applying and they're trying to get into good schools,
and they're trying to get a slot early because everybody's going to do the mad rush. Everybody's going to go through rush basically.
So
back to sororities.
So that was
private schools.
That was my thing. So I looked at a couple last year, and then this year I've already scheduled.
We must have what, 8 or 10?
No, more than that. It's a lot.
No,
it's about once. We're going to be going about once to twice a week, every week, between now and the end of the new year. And then
not the end of the new year, the end of this year,
the end of this year, to the new year, and then a couple thereafter. And I looked at the first one I've looked at this season was complete surprise, a slam dunk.
Yeah, you've had two. You came back like slam dunk.
It was and you're right. There's only been 2. There was one last year, and now there currently is
3.
One this year. No, there was one last year.
I know, but I thought you said 2 this week that were both slam dunks.
No.
I'm sorry.
Just this one.
I misunderstood. So you liked one, but then the one you went to yesterday, you really liked.
Really
amazing.
liked. So now I just need to create a multi-billion-dollar startup.
Yeah.
Within the next 6 months.
Yep.
And his education should be in the bag.
Yeah, we'll be good.
So
we're all good. We're all good. The other thing that's really interesting too, and I was telling someone today, I said, Jackson's 8. He's in 3rd grade. And I love that he is so forthcoming with how he's feeling still, because I know that's not going to last. I mean, everybody who has teenage kids already is like laughing in their homes or with their cocktails right now at our podcast. Like, just wait till they're texting and not telling you anything and blah, blah, blah. But he still tells us stuff. And he's so forthcoming, about saying, I don't care where I go to camp. I just want my friends there. Like, this was the year that friends became important. And it was emphatically so, like the week before school started, when we learned that one of his best friends, or his very best friend, had already decided to go to a private school. They got in, and he's now in that school through 12th grade. And I just found out his little brother, because he's in there now, his little brother automatically will start 4-year-old kindergarten there. So now That kid is set from 4 years old till 18. They are done.
Yeah.
They are done looking. It's great. It's fine. It's over. Which is a huge relief for the parents and stuff too. But at any rate, it was devastating for Jackson. And then I remember when he went to go find his classroom that day or find out his teacher was, and they just did it alphabetically. And then he didn't think he knew anyone in class. And again, devastation. Very nervous going to school that first day. What if no one wants to play handball anymore? And I said, well, don't you think other people who like playing handball last year are probably having the same thought at 5:30 in the morning right now that you are? I mean, Jackson's the only one that I know gets up that early of all his friends. But anyway, it's just huge. It was just huge. And then I found out most of the boys, and I don't know as much about the girls, but a lot of the little boys his age going into third grade were all kind of having the same anxiety. And it's really important for them. And of course, we all know that. But we've kind of, I think, as actors and moving around, and I mean, my parents were divorced. I always lived kind of far away, and I moved a lot of different places. You did less so, but you've had this sense of you come and go and you don't say goodbye to people. You say, I'll see you next time or I'll see you again. Right. And he just doesn't have that. And he's been now this school. And so it's hard.
Well, and it's happening at such like my elementary school, kids moved out, but it was actually kind of rare when it happened. And so rare that when it happened that it was kind of a thing. And in his situation, it's actually a lot more regular.
Yeah, I guess
so many kids move around.
LA's transit, or we had a kid whose dad is in production, and he went to New Zealand for 4 months, and I think first or second grade he was gone.
Right.
I mean, that's the dream deal. But I mean,
I don't know what's the New Zealand public school system situation.
I think he was homeschooled. I think they sent all the
homeschool
homework assignments with him and stuff, and his mom helped him.
So are you saying we should homeschool?
I'm saying if you get a job in New Zealand, I will so homeschool.
All right.
Well, and then the flip side is he says to me this morning, he wakes up 6 a.m. on the dot. I've been up since 5:58 when Brody started whining and you were dead to the world. Anyway, got up with the dogs and the kid wakes up and he says, I have this thought in my head. And I was like, okay, what's the thought? And he goes, I feel like we need to move to Huntington Beach. And I was like,
he said that?
Yes, just this morning, I swear.
Huntington Beach? Why? What does he know that I don't know?
And I was like, why? And I said, first of all, how do you know there's a place called Huntington Beach?
Like, I don't know that we've even taken him there.
No, I don't even know exactly where it is. And he goes, well, he'd already told me one of the kids in his class is moving. Rachel's moving. He's like, well, that's where Rachel's going. And I was like, oh, right. You told me she was moving and she'd be leaving Playa Vista School. She'd be leaving the school. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, but you and Rachel aren't that close. I mean, he's never mentioned her. It's not like one of his buddies. He's like, yeah, Mom, she and I are real good friends.
So much so
that we need to
uproot
the family. Okay. Yet he would go to a school where he knew one person and leave all of this. And so I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's the nuttiness of a kid's mind.
It's challenging, but it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And you get I guess.
Well, and that's what do we just keep saying? Hey, yeah, it's not. Trust me, from someone who moved as I went into third grade and as I went into seventh grade. My sister moved at pinnacle times in her life when we were moving, and we had to move because the recession of the 70s was not kind to my stepfather's profession, and so we had to move wherever there was work.
Right.
But no, it was tough. It wasn't always easy, and I was much easier, like Jackson, to go in and kind of meet friends and stuff. But it's hard because you still feel like the kid on the outside that's always trying to make good so everyone will accept you.
I guess, yeah, that was being a theater kid. And granted, we had our own little community in high school. That felt, but I just didn't care what other people thought.
Well, you're also a guy. Girls care more.
Also a guy.
Yeah. True. But anyway, so there's education, and that's, we'll just keep slugging it out and having cocktails on Saturdays and talking to our kid. That's all you can do.
That's all I can do.
So well, you got something else. Yeah, it's
well,
kind of a decent segue.
This is a pretty good segue. So I found this article in Entrepreneur magazine because I'm looking. I don't have no original ideas, but I'm just trying to figure out.
Oh, you're trying to get that $6 billion so that we can get our kid in school. So you're reading Entrepreneur magazine. I liked how you're thinking, honey.
Yeah, it's a little cart before the horse, but so there's 5 surprising things super successful people do.
I am guessing
that
I at least do 3 of the 5.
Well, you have to be doing all of the 5. Otherwise, you're just middling success.
That's what I'm saying.
Just a middling success.
I think I'm like 65% successful.
Well, let's see what we got. Let's look at them. Okay, number 1, they avoid decision fatigue.
Now, wait. When they say they avoid decision fatigue, does that mean that they don't make so many decisions that by the end of the day they're exhausted from all the decisions they made? Or that they avoid decision fatigue, meaning they don't wishy-wash and can't make a decision and it exhausts them, the stress of trying to decide, but never deciding? Are you quick to make a decision and moving on?
Well, no.
Is that a good thing?
Well,
what does it mean?
You have to make in life, and to be super successful, you have to make a lot of decisions.
Absolutely.
So knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
There are a lot of decisions that are irrelevant, really make no difference. And you shouldn't burden yourself with those decisions because there are other ones you need to focus on. So
it's weeding out the good decisions from the frivolous decisions.
Super successful people recognize that by wasting their willpower on unimportant decisions, they have less fuel to make great decisions on the things that really matter in their lives and business. How are we doing in that portion, Jennifer?
It's hard. I would say I'm not great at it.
You feel like you labor over every decision?
No, I don't labor. No. Let's say I don't labor over every decision, but I certainly don't go, you know what, I don't need, I'll just let that just work itself out. I kind of micromanage the stuff, you know.
Just probably it's too much.
Which is too much. I'm making too many decisions, which is another version of fatigue.
So what we could do is for those random ones, I'll get you a magic 8-ball.
I was just to say a yes/no paddle. Because the magic 8-ball would work. I wonder how many successful people have a magic 8-ball.
Bet you it's pretty high. If you're listening to the show and you're super successful, please write in and let us know whether or not you have a magic 8-ball. We would like to know.
Anywho, well, how do you do with that? The decision fatigue. Because you like tracking lots of little things, and I dare to say OCD, but you like the lists and stuff.
I'm a list guy.
But you also kind of ignore crap too.
That's the other way to avoid decision fatigue.
Yeah.
If you ignore it, it's not a decision.
That's right.
I'm not even aware it's the problem.
So you absolutely have no decision fatigue about, like, should I clean the toilet today?
Nope. No.
Don't even think about it.
Not a decision.
Should I dust?
Nope.
Should I unload the dishwasher?
No.
No. Wait. Not no. I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to
think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be fatigued.
You are not fatigued. I think you do better at this than I do.
I'm well on my way to being super successful, everybody. Super successful.
Awesome. This is great. So when I ask you to do something, you're not going to put up your hand and be like, hang on, Jen, I don't want to be, I can't be decision fatigued. It'll get in the way of my success.
Well, here's where this plan falls apart. If you say, I'm going to take the decision away from you by telling you to do, this is what you need to do.
Oh, yes. I like this.
Then there's no decision. I won't be fatigued by the decision.
Yes. I'll make the decision for you.
Exactly.
I'll tell you so you can make the decision for you. No, but a marriage is successful. We're good.
That's right. Yeah, no, but reality, yes, I have a what I probably might be considered a touch of the OCD. Although when you hear real people who have OCD, what I have,
you're just a crazy list maker, and then once you make the list, you have to check it off.
Look, here's the thing: talk about being burdened by decisions. My lists guarantee I make no decisions. No decisions.
I know, but then every time a new James Bond movie comes out, we have to count backwards and watch every movie again.
Well, James Bond isn't. We don't do it every time because otherwise I'd be spending most of my life watching James Bond movies, which could be worse. I could be doing worse things with my time. But
that's what we're doing. That's
Well,
what we did the first time I met you.
first time
And
you
a
met me,
movie came out.
that was a long time
We
ago.
counted back, and every Saturday or Sunday.
Well, Jackson made the mistake
Yeah, I like
of
the
telling
gadgets.
me that he liked Mission Impossible, the latest Mission Impossible, which I thought was wonderful. But he liked it because of the gadgets, and I said it's time to start watching all of the James Bond movies.
Which, by the way, Mom, meaning me, was not completely on board with, and I want to put that out there right now
It's okay.
because
you can admit that you were wrong.
no, about a sexual innuendo that Bob and I differ about.
But there's a lot of sexual innuendo that I use on a daily basis.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm making innuendo.
Well, you are so bad at it that no one knows you're doing it. But James Bond, hello. Everyone knows when James Bond's doing it.
But he does it in such a fun, lighthearted way. It's nice.
Really? The only thing that's funny is one, Jackson goes, he's kissing another different girl.
Yeah. He's totally.
So now actually maybe I'm making him a better like partner for someone in life because he'll be like, no, don't kiss all the girls. Don't kiss
Or
all
he's
of them.
going, this
You
is the
pick
way
one.
we're actually training him to be
No.
polygamist.
No.
No.
No. No.
No,
Hey, don't you have to be married to be a polygamist?
serial dater,
Oh, okay. Just
a sleeper arounder,
just a guy.
or a fella.
Yeah, just a guy.
Just
All
a
right.
regular
Anyway,
fella. No, but
mas.
I guess to finish off this decision-making thing, we have to address this because for people who know me and know me super well, I'm going to reveal a little bit about my list making to the audience now that is going to sound super crazy
It is.
saying it out loud.
Yeah.
But I promise you,
I know
it's
what
probably
you're gonna
super
say.
crazy. No, I had devised a plan in, I want to say it was either early in high school or late in middle school.
It's your algorithm.
And it was a way to know based on the high and low temperature of the day how to get dressed. And
Which clearly you didn't grow up in humidity because that changes everything.
Of course. And I've had to, and having moved now to the West Coast, I've had to adjust my.
Really? So you had to change the plan.
I had to tweak the program.
Oh
No,
my
my
gosh.
scale was
A little
built
matrix.
for the Northeast.
Yeah. Which also, by the way, if the sun is out or it's cloudy, totally different way you could dress for a particular degree, high and low.
It is, but I'm not putting that much thought into it.
Well, that would require you to think.
So the breakdown is this.
Yeah, this is his plan for getting dressed every day, and he tries to make Jackson do it, which drives me nuts.
I
But
don't make the Jackson do it. Jackson goes, what's the temperature? He knows the deal. And he also knows that by knowing the scale, it takes 2 seconds to get dressed.
I will say it helps you choose quicker.
Yeah, helps me choose quicker. There's no decision to be made. So here it is. If the high of the day, and I won't get into the Los Angeles.
Give him the
original program. Completely, I had no other people in mind, and other people might require different things. But for me, in the Northeast, if the high of the day was 80 degrees or higher, that's shorts and a t-shirt.
Duh.
If the high of the day was in the 70s, that's long pants, most likely jeans, and a t-shirt. 60s, that's long pants, long shirt. 50s, jacket. 40s is layers. 30s, hat, gloves, whole 9 yards. That's daytime high. Now, nighttime, you would like, well, how do you know how to dress when you go out at night? It's very simple. You would look at the low of the night at 10 degrees. So if the low of the night was going to be in the 50s, you dress as if it were the 60s.
What?
I don't know why that worked, but it completely worked out there.
Was it because the warm air was still on board?
I guess
somewhere?
I was never out at 3 a.m. and it was the lowest of the low. So if that's worked
but
perfectly.
that doesn't work when you start going from like 50s to 40s when it's all of a sudden it drops and it's cold at night. Like you're shivering as a little girl.
Well, I was never shivering as a little girl. That never happened for me. No, and it works great. And it worked great. The only thing I had to tweak out here, for the most part, it works for me out here.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I have to tweak is I can't add out here. It's desert nights. So I can't add 10 degrees. If it says
20.
low of 40,
you think
low
of
of
it
50, you have to dress to that degree.
That degree.
Because
Sure.
it will get that cool. But again, as far as making decision and avoiding decision fatigue, mission avoided.
Well,
Now,
you know, in the city, it gets a little warmer because of the buildings and everything. So maybe that's why.
again, yeah.
I don't know.
Again,
I'm not gonna
my little
ponder this.
scale
work for you.
works perfectly.
Okay, fine.
So that was one way to do it. All right, so here we go. Number 2. We'll go back to the premise here is 5 surprising things super successful people do.
Yep.
Number 2 is they're not afraid to say no. How you doing on that?
I do say no. I'm better at it.
Really?
I'm better at it.
Who do you
However,
say? No, you say no to me all the time.
Yep.
But who in your business life?
Which seems like that. But let's see if we can do this. Because from Eric Schmidt, our chairman, and one of my favorite all-time bosses, Alfred Spector, who I really admire, and he had his own company and then worked for IBM and then worked for Google. They have something on their desk that says, whenever possible, say yes. And I would like to think, that someday I am the master of my domain as, either an owner or an upper level executive. And when you get to that level, you want to say yes whenever possible, because most of the time that's all you're saying is no.
Excuse me. Yes. No, I mean, it makes absolute sense.
But I will say no. Let's look at this. They're not afraid to say no. It's not that they do say no. It doesn't say they say no often. They're not afraid to say no. I have no problem saying no when it cannot work and it's not good for business.
What about, oh boy.
Oh, geez. Oh, boy. It's the stress.
The Los Angeles public school system sending me a phone call. So what about, you're saying, oh, okay. So how about on various, and
I have no problem saying no.
You don't?
I have no problem saying I don't think that's going to work or I'm not in favor of that.
Okay. How about when people ask you to be on things? And are you good at saying I don't have the bandwidth to do that?
Yes.
You are.
Yes. Because there were a couple of new things that I was offered to do this year and I really wanted to do them. So the first thing I said to you was, I'm a parent and I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. Before I even knew the board was disbanded, I said, I'm going to step down and say, I can't devote my time to that.
I think fair to say that that's been a learning curve for you.
Oh,
there
absolutely.
were many years of agreeing to
well, look, I was a yes child. So I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever to please people. I was a people pleaser, but not anymore. Darn it.
Not anymore. We're going to, you know what?
I need some light.
We got to flip this light on.
This is pitiful. Let's see.
It's on the wall switch.
Ooh. Oh, please. I'm in the dark. It's warm, Beatty lighting. Fall is this. All right. There. Back in.
It's the problem when you're doing a video show that has
which is supposed to be a podcast.
Live lighting.
Yeah. Lay down.
All right. So you're getting better at that.
I'm getting better at it. But yes, you're absolutely right. It has been a huge learning curve over the years because I used to be terrible at it.
I'm
and I
on
would
that.
say
I'm on.
yes.
It's very easy.
You said no to everything all the time.
Yeah, it's not a problem. For me.
Although
But
I did say no to you.
clearly
No,
clearly that
no.
didn't stick.
Nope.
All right, number 3. They embrace boredom. Do you embrace boredom?
I do. And the way I know that is because I'm a procrastinator and I will sit and like go through boredom because I don't want to do something. And I have no problems doing it if I really don't want to do the thing I'm supposed to do. I really have to fight procrastination, which is probably not successful, but I do clock in as a yes on they embrace boredom. And you've seen me, I channel surf. I have no problems like just drumming it.
Well, but what they're referring to is not just unplugging good, but what they're
Right.
talking about is not trying new things, but rather sticking to a regimen that will, for lack of a better term, build your muscles towards the goals you're trying to.
I can agree with that.
Do you do that?
Oh yeah, I would sooner not. I mean, sometimes I don't want to do anything new. I like my stuff. I like my rhythm. I like the schedule. I like what I'm committed to.
I don't do that as well. First off, my day schedule is hardly ever the same. Once
Mhm.
I do fall into a pattern of work, it gets easily disrupted.
Yep.
That's harder for me. Plus, I do like to try, and it's not out of boredom, it's out of experience. I never like to do the same thing twice.
Yeah. And see, I love to do the same thing over and over
No.
and perfect it and get it smooth and
Well, yeah. I mean,
not when it's work though.
not when it's work.
Yeah. You
What?
hated paper pushing when you'd have to do those jobs where it was the same job every day, just a different set of names in the blanks, so to speak.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was never something you enjoyed doing.
no.
Whereas
Who
I
does?
kind of I liked like look, I would love it if I do now. I get the same I get a different school, but it's the same ka-ching of getting X number of kids online to do some great educational program. And then I go to the next one and then I go to the next one.
Right.
And it's just similar, how do I get that school engaged? It may tweak slightly. Oh, we got to do an event. Oh, we're going to go do a training or something. But it's the same thing.
So assume, because I feel like I'm always trying to improve my weaknesses.
Yeah. We've been talking about this a little bit at work, or a spin of this, I should say. We talk so much like being a strong worker or a successful employee at Google is often, oh, you got to do all this stuff and you just kind of being the best. And they were like, actually, it's okay to find those 2 or 3 things that you're amazing at and just do those. You don't need to go and when we do our annual performance reviews, we do say, here's one thing I'm really good at that I'd like to keep doing at my job. And here's one thing that I could improve upon to have more impact, which is so much nicer than to say, here are my strengths and here are my weaknesses.
Right.
But, in essence, that's what you're saying. And, I never have performance reviews. I don't have a lot of things that I want to put into that. Here are things that I want to do better to have impact on. I kind of have to think about those things. And that's not to say I'm perfect. That's not it at all, or that I'm doing a great job. It's that I can't think of things that would make me do my job better. I mean, yeah, I'd love to learn to do coding, or I'd love to learn to, do some amazing things with I don't know, spreadsheets or whatever it is, to sell a big deal or do a big business plan or something. But that's not what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm kind of comfortable driving what I do well. And I think that's the point, is do what you do really well and stop trying to get better at all the things you're a novice at still. You know what I'm saying?
I do. That's a challenging one. I think that works if you are super successful already.
Yeah. I mean, that's true too.
That's a good one of saying, I'm not going to,
Yep.
things are actually working just fine. There's no reason for if that is not the case, how do you not attempt to improve your weaknesses? I feel like I'm first off, I think I'm just loaded with weaknesses. And I feel like I'm trying to have that not be the case. So it's a challenge. All right. And number 5. Oh, you can definitely attest to this.
Oh, that's me.
They
I've
wake
got
up.
this in spades,
Number
people.
5 is they wake up before the sun rises.
Yep. Check.
Yeah. I guess I do the odds.
Doesn't say though that you go to bed at 9 or 9:30, which is what ends up happening.
But you
every
have to.
night. I mean, I'm up between 5:30 and 6 every day. Yeah. Sometimes earlier.
And lately my pattern has been terrible. It's been
gosh.
I'm up, I fall asleep with the family. I wake up to clean up the kitchen, get coffee going around 11 o'clock at night.
And you come in here and do a couple of emails.
Then I come into the office and do maybe another 2 hours of work.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, last night I woke up at 1:30 and I hear Bob singing.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, Bob sings. That's not unusual, but not at 1:30 in the morning.
Look, you take the time. You take the time when you can get it.
And so I walked in and went, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I just got this song."
Well, and there's no unless I have to. I don't.
Oh, you have to.
Why do I have to?
Well, because you could feed or walk the dog, so I don't have to.
But I do that for most of the day.
No.
But I do.
No.
And for the next week, I'll be doing it all day.
That's right. Jen's got a big trip, heading out of town. Somebody was like, "Oh, business or pleasure?" And I'm like, kind of both. 2 great cities. I'm going to 2 great cities.
You're not supposed to tell me it's for pleasure. You're supposed to say it's for business.
Well, I didn't. It is business, but it's 2 great cities. They have great food and/or great places to go look and see. And I'm going to be in great engaging conversation for work and the people I'm going to meet. And then I'm going to come back and be done. And it's my biggest business trip of the year as far as the length of time I'm gone.
Okay.
And then that's it. And I'm done. I've got some small little trips coming, but this is the longest and kind of the most grueling, the hard labor of work travel.
Tough job you have.
Anyway.
Tough job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. Those are the different ways in which I now have firm examples as to why I'm not as successful as I'd like to be. So
anyway. Anywho's. How much time do we have left? Have we got a little bit more time?
Well, if there's something you'd like to chat about.
Well, it's absolutely a non sequitur.
We're full of those.
Okay. So I have to say, though, I've been wondering about this for a couple weeks. And so I guess it's been a few weeks back. I was going to bring it up and I didn't get to it. Okay. But it's been interesting. And it's kind of going back to relationships. We haven't talked a lot about just men and women tonight. We've been talking about kids and education and being successful and professional careers. But we had Lori on recently. We're talking about relationships and men and women.
Yep.
And we talked about our wedding or our courtship, and how we came together. And it was really interesting. A couple of weeks ago now on the Today Show, which is my morning show, thing to go to, they had Steve Harvey on.
Yes.
Okay. And he's getting ready to kick off his new season or whatever. And he seems delightful. I don't know much about him other than I don't watch his show. I never am around to watch those type of talk shows.
I like him. Steve Harvey
funny.
Was a fantastic stand-up.
Okay.
Really, really good stand-up comedy. He toured a lot with Bernie Mac in the late 90s.
Oh, Bernie Mac.
Yeah, before we lost him. But they toured a lot together, and he's sort of a family-oriented comic.
Yes.
A little blue as they tended to be, but now he's this sort of champion of, which is so weird. Well,
this will be the antithesis of that. Although he was trying to help the house, he's kicking off his new season, about the big premise of the first show or whatever. And I could totally be getting all of this wrong, but I know the next part I got right. Well, I mean, there may have been more to it or whatever, but they were focusing on this in this interview. Is the fact that what he was kicking off was the introductory content that men are thinking about sex all the time, and that is their goal all the time. And he was saying it. Wait.
About sex all the time, or to have sex all the time?
Have sex all the time. How am I going to do that? And that nothing else mattered. And that's what we do. And he was like, you know, we think about it until we get the opportunity to have it. So as a child or an adolescent and all this kind of stuff, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about it. Again, as a man, as a boy and a man. And then finally you get to have sex, and then you just, that everything then is built around, when am I going to have sex again? How am I going to have sex again? Blah, 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 blah. And they were like, literally, we don't care about a house and a yard or any of this stuff. It just gets us closer to having sex again. And he goes, and I don't think women get that. And I was like,
No,
is he for real? Like, really?
Really, that women don't get that?
No, really? Is that what you think all the time? Aren't you bored?
By sex?
Thinking about it.
No. No, I don't have a capacity for that kind of boredom. No.
Is it true you think about it all the time? I mean, I hate to put you on the spot.
I don't
guys?
on the spot.
But I mean, like, when we wanted to buy a house.
Was I thinking about sex while
yes.
we were buying the house?
Or when I said, let's we got this opportunity to buy a house. What do you think? Should we buy it, honey?
While you were figuring out where furniture was going, I was looking for places to screw.
That is not a nice way to put that. But you made your point.
Copulate.
No. Now that's worse. But anyway, the Pope is in town, so I guess you can say copulate.
Thank you, Pope.
He's not in our town. He's in the town of the U.S.
He's in the country. Do we think about it all the time?
I mean, at this point, when you got family and kids and everything.
After being married 12 years.
12 years next week. Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Fingers crossed. Do I think about it all day, every day, all the time?
Every minute, all the time.
No.
Okay.
Do I think about it daily, several times a day?
God, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, of course. No, it's the moment of puberty when the
light bulb went off.
The light bulb went off. The flag went up the pole.
Oh my God.
Yeah. From that moment to
death.
Till about maybe 2 years ago.
What happened 2 years ago?
I blame you. No. Yeah, it's
when you started your program.
yeah.
When you went to your fellowship, that's what all.
Here's the thing. I'm sure if my professional life were a little less challenging, I would have so much more time to obsess about sex. And I think
so. It's probably an obsession that men have with sex. Women, I don't think have it.
No, I guarantee. No, they don't. It's not I think they don't. They do not have it. If they did, we would be overrun with human beings. It would be ridiculous.
That'd be true.
Women do not have this issue at all. And so even our ability to share our desires with the opposite sex, or for some, the same sex, is limiting, because even though we know that we're thinking about it all the times, we know that
the partner is not.
The partner is not. But masturbation is a beautiful thing.
Bob.
But
oh my God.
It's what happens.
I didn't know this was going into that realm.
You should have known it was going into that realm.
Oh my God.
That's what you opened here. But that's what happens. You want to know what happens?
Okay,
what happens.
I get it. Okay, enough said.
And
I'm good.
No, it's not enough said, because now I got to say this. You ought to thank, and not you individually
Yes,
you,
I
although
know.
you individually you, but figuratively, all women, all partners should be thankful that masturbation exists, because if it didn't, you would be just overwhelmed.
And we'd be overrun with people again.
Once again, we'd be overpopulated. But it's yeah, and the other part of it too is frequently, and I'll raise my hand to this. You go, here comes that I'm starting to obsess. I'm thinking about it. And I know, unless I see this through in the quickest and most efficient manner possible, masturbation,
Oh my gosh.
I will get nothing done.
Bob, oh my God.
I will get nothing done. Look, this is your can of worms. You opened it.
Well, I was curious.
You're no longer curious. Everything there is to know.
Oh my God.
So you take care of things so that you
I
can
get
continue
it.
on.
All right. Well, all right. Fair enough.
But do we think about sex all the time? Yeah. But again, as your life gets more complicated, the less time you have to think about.
Well, that's what I thought. But then Steve Harvey was clearly but I guess he was talking just for ratings and stuff too. I mean, it was the big sell and
but
blah,
he's
blah,
not
blah.
wrong. He's not wrong. And I'll say this, if I was more successful and was not constantly working towards very specific goals that didn't involve copulation.
So if you're a porn star, it would be different.
If I was a porn star, then I'm really
all bets are off.
Yeah. I'm really playing to my strengths, so to speak. But if you're not a porn star,
gosh,
you're not a porn star. And I imagine that there are many people who
are not porn stars. I'm imagining almost all of our office. I mean, our audience.
The audience. Although not the Germans. You know, you have to compartmentalize, because otherwise you'd never get anything done.
Thank God you compartmentalize. I don't have time. I mean,
yeah, we won't get into what you don't have time for.
I'm volunteering. I'm a lot of volunteering.
I would like you to volunteer for some things for me.
Excuse me.
That's right.
All right. Well, that ended that. I know where we stand now.
That's yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, folks. That is the show. Anyone you'd like to thank? Any plugs?
Definitely shout out to Tracy in Washington, D.C. area, who is liking our show.
All right.
And
Tracy in Washington, D.C.
Jennifer B. in Virginia Beach, who's been saying, Tracy actually said she peed in her pants listening to us.
You don't.
We were so funny, she peed in her pants.
If that's what's happening to you, if you were losing control of your faculties, I advise you not to listen to us. Jennifer B. in Virginia Beach said, we were extremely funny, which is awesome, but she just, loved hearing us banter, and she was reliving all of her memories, like of going through their proposal. She said, my husband and I have this great relationship similar to yours and Bob's. We talk, we have a great time together. And she said, as you all were sharing your story, it allowed me to kind of relive mine personal story. So that was kind of nice, and that's the whole point. And that is the whole point. And that's actually a good segue into this little note. One of the things that we're going to try to do on the show, we've been experimenting. If you've been listening and or watching, you might have noticed, every show's a little different, and we're trying some different things, and I like mixing it up. But one of the things we're going to try next week, stories that never get old to me, and I don't know why it is, and maybe now it will get old to me. Excuse me. Stories about how people met, how people got together, the decisions to get married, and the decisions to have children. I find them so amazingly unique and fascinating that we are going to start having some people on the show, friends, guests, to either be with us here in our little studio or do it via Google Hangout and have them tell their story. I'll tell you this: if this feels like something that you'd be interested in doing, go to the Facebook page and
Shoot us a little shout out.
Let me know it's something you're interested in
the
doing,
wall,
and we'll put you on the books because it's something I think could be really interesting. Like I said, I'm always fascinated by those stories. I think they're very interesting. I think they're very telling about the individual, and I think they're really fun and or funny. And if they're really sad, it'll be my fault. It'll be completely my fault. But I don't think
I hope that most people coming together and deciding to have children are never sad stories.
We were both going to kill ourselves, but rather we got married. Although I'm afraid that too many people have actually had that thought. That'll be hopefully we have our first scheduled for next week's program. So hopefully episode 7
and that'll be
our
on our anniversary or the day afterwards.
Yeah, so we'll try to make it a little bit less about us.
Woo! Maybe we'll just have some champagne.
Yeah,
we got champagne
all around. So that does it for this week's show. Any last words?
Have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. One thing, each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. That's life. And I can't deny it. Any time out, but my heart won't buy it. And if there's nothing shaking from this here July, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big